Good evening, good evening. What's going on, Fair Trade Cafe? Happy Wednesday. We're happy you're here. If you guys are just hanging out in this coffee shop, you're like, who's this lady yelling at me? What's up? My name's Jessie. I'm the host of Chatterbox. You'll meet my co-host here formally in a minute. He gave you an announcement earlier. But yeah, so this is Chatterbox. We're a storytelling open mic. We do this show every Wednesday. It is a storytelling show, so these are real life stories about your real life. So these are stories about your real life. We have a theme every week. Tonight's theme is once in a lifetime. So this could be anything that happens to you once in a lifetime, something dramatic, I'm hoping. So we've got 2 more slots left, so if you're interested in telling, stories should be about 6 to 8 minutes long. At 6 minutes, you'll see Estevan or myself hold a number 2 up on our phones, so you know that you have some time to kind of wrap up your story. After 2 minutes, you'll see a 0, or Estevan just like kind of creeping towards you so he can carry you outside. Either way, you guys choose. All right, so other than that, we're here to have a fun night. Guys, put your hands together for Fair Trade Cafe and the baristas. Yeah, tip your baristas. And put your hands together for Jared, our podcast producer. Ooh. We've got a podcast. It's called Chatter Pod. I know the name isn't really, it's so original, guys. Chatter Pod. Okay. But yeah, so we have this podcast. You can check it out. There's a lot more stories on there besides the ones that'll be told tonight. So check that out if you haven't already. It's anywhere you listen to podcasts and on Hoot and Waddle's website. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just get this show started. Let's bring a regular up to the stage. Put your hands together for Damien.
Okay, so before I wow, that's interesting sound. Before I tell my story, I'm going to ask real quick, has anyone in the audience seen the Netflix series Castlevania? Awesome. Based on one of the best games ever. Yes, it especially counts if you played the game. Awesome. So, I thought of this, as I was, or as the announcement was happening, but there's a particular scene in Season 2 where one of the main characters, Sypha, says that her nomadic people, speakers, are the enemies of God, by attempting to maintain human cooperation through learning all languages and sharing all stories. And then, as a comedic throwaway line in that scene, something starts rumbling because, vampires, and she's like, see, God hates me. So, really funny line. And that was a very poor attempt to try to align that to the nature of this story. Personally, I don't really believe in any God, but if there is a God, I'm pretty sure he hates me, but not enough to kill me. Because I have had numerous once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, all of which have been wasted. Not always on my fault, though. So, example. When I was in high school freshman year, my parents decided to go on this heavy metal cruise called 70,000 Tons of Metal. You get to go on this badass cruise ship, sail around the Caribbean to an actual pirate island, awesome, called Grand Turk. And all the while, on the ship, there are numerous stages of some of the best and most awesome heavy metal bands from around the world. So you got bands like Sabaton, I don't think Iron Maiden was on there, but like them. Necrogoblicon, I don't know if anyone's heard of them, but they're hilarious. They have a little goblin dude. It's Leaves' Eyes, there's probably 2 people in this entire audience that have heard of those bands. But super awesome thing, right? And I've been a metalhead since I was old enough to listen to things. But it was a 21 and over event, so I couldn't go. And my parents had saved up for years in order to go on this trip. So I had to stay at home with my weird-ass uncle and watch horror movies. So it's okay, VHS is a pretty cool movie, but it is. But I really wish I could be, getting in a mosh pit / hot tub with all these awesome bands. So that was one of them. A more recent one, which was frankly the most disappointing in a really long time, was that if you were here when I did Secret Weapon, you'll know that I do a lot of voices. And for a very long time, I wanted to be a voice actor because of all the different crazy frickin' voices I could do. I actually had an opportunity to do that. My sister, who works in LA, had a contact who was attempting to get a show off the ground for Adult Swim about this kind of like cartoon sketch comedy type thing. She gave him my contact information. He contacted me. We actually had plans to go through with this. And then I said, okay, where do we go now? Never heard from him again. Every other week, even, I would just like message this guy, be like, "Hey, where are we going with this? Is this still happening? Is this still a thing?" Just crickets every time. So that's why I say God hates me, but not enough to kill me. Although I will say, another one just popped into my head. I wasn't going to say this one because I hadn't thought of it until now. If anyone who's seen me up here before probably knows that I also like to write. Senior year of high school, I entered a playwriting competition. The winner would have their play shown at the Pleasure Feast at the Renaissance Festival, and you would get to stage manage and direct and to have like the big boy job. And I was so hyped for this. I spent hours and hours sleeping over this play that I honestly thought was freaking hilarious. And I turned it into my teacher saying, okay, I'm ready to enter this competition. And she thought it was hilarious. Read it to the class. We actually did a performance in class. And I think we did one in the auditorium, but it was just like an open reading thing. And like everyone was like, awesome, we're going to go to the Renaissance Festival. Second place, which is still awesome, but damn, did I feel hollow after that. Second place. And it was like, if you read it, or ever read it, which it's not posted anywhere, but I don't know, maybe that'll be a thing. It's like one of the most meta comedies ever. It's like, super basic story of brother and sister are like, they're traveling somewhere in a carriage, and then, they hit a bump on the road, kid falls out, they're being chased by hogs or some crap, I forget. And they get separated. This brother and this sister get separated. The sister gets to, live in this, big fancy castle. Brother is left in the forest to die, but he's found and raised by elves. And these elves are the biggest assholes you will ever meet. Like, the second they found him, they were just like, neat. And, why am I explaining the entire plot? This is about once in a lifetime, right? Yeah, super meta comedy, but a lot of people really liked it, and I was super bummed out when I only got second place, which is still really good, but seriously, second place. Let me think of one more before Estevan physically throws me out of this building. Let's see. Also in high school, there was, trying to place it right now, there was a thing. I'm blanking, I can't remember. Yeah, moral of the story, God's kind of salty towards me, and I'm kind of salty towards him, so yeah, I'm done. I just rambled. Didn't have a plan, I just rambled the whole time.
One more time for Damien, please. I'm having a surreal moment right now. Hi, my name is Estevan. I'm your co-host here at Chatterbox. My name's Estevan Pina. If you don't speak Spanish, that's Steven Pineapple. I answered, to both. It's fine. This is part of the show where I get to be the shameless self-promoter. of the show. I can't talk this evening. This is fine. Shameless self-promoter of the show and of our podcast, of which there's now 37 episodes up on iTunes. 37 up on iTunes and Spotify, pretty much everywhere you can listen to podcasts, all hosted by this amazing gentleman seated in the corner right here, Jared. Don't look at him, though. No applause for Jared. Moving right along, please help me welcome a relatively new, but now a regular to the show. Please help me welcome Gerry, as I say his name correctly. Go, Gerry.
I'm proud of you, Estevan. I'm very proud of you. Oh, you have a stand now. Oh, okay. It's gonna throw me off. Whatever you can find in the dumpster, right? And so, once in a lifetime, huh? I think we've all had some once in a lifetime moments. Like, there was the time I was able to make a hole-in-one by hitting the golf ball the opposite direction. I still wonder about that sometimes. There was the other time I went to a party I was not invited to and guessed the correct amount of number for, like, those candy jars. It was, like, 523. I didn't get it because those things are a scam. Baby showers are a scam. I'm just kidding. But I have to say the biggest once in a lifetime. I wasn't looking at the topic or anything, guys. Don't worry. Moment that I had was had involved guitars, moms, and RPGs. And I don't mean rocket-propelled grenades. I mean like the game that people play with paper and a pen. And so back in high school, I had met a friend who, I'll call him Damien for now, just to keep him anonymous. And we met in financial math class because that's where all the kids who didn't want to take calculus went to, or weren't good at math, but hey, they're doing their best. And so me and him really connected, especially through, things such as like D&D and Warhammer 40K, and I can already see I've lost half of my audience because they don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just kidding. But no, just kind of hanging out with him and a couple other friends and, just enjoying the dark humor that we had together. But then, as high school students and just about everybody else after high school, you just don't really see your friends that much anymore, especially those who you only hung out with for a bit, and that was Damien. But I did visit him a while back, right before I started college, just as, because I was trying to catch up with a bunch of friends of mine and see how everybody's doing, and maybe laugh in their faces for the people I didn't like, but hey. Yeah. But I really liked Damien since he was a cool guy. So I went to visit him, and I always forget he has, like, these really small, like, I think, like, they're corgis, because my mind's blanking about what kind of dogs he had. But they're really, really aggressive, and so they, like, try and bite my ankles every time I come over. But I was visiting him and just trying to see how he was doing, and we just start, conveying all of our life experiences and our traumas right after high school and just what we're going through. And with that, then we went into just talking about like D&D and Warhammer 40K. But while I was perusing his bathroom, because his bathroom had a really weird layout, and where the door opened, they just say the doorknob wasn't there. It was weird. And so I see a guitar is like in the corner of the bathroom, and so I kind of walk out. I'm like, "Hey, Damien, like, whose guitar is that?" And he says it belonged to his mom, and that it hasn't been used in years. And the thing with Damien was, before I met him, he had kind of suffered through a really traumatic loss, and where he lost his mom, and his mom, because his mom was fighting cancer at the time, and so unfortunately she lost that battle. And ever since then, they kind of just put her stuff away, and just kind of try to deal with the loss. But I guess that he can